Fine. Let me show you a trick.
Pow.
We've touched on the Fatal Frame franchise here on the channel. It should be obvious that I'm a big fan of the franchise and its mechanics. Except for you, Fatal Frame 1. I'm still not that big of a fan. I'm not the only one though. A whole new series was born by studying what Fatal Frame did and reimagining it through a slightly different cultural lens. Digital Happiness, an indie studio in Indonesia, decided on their second game to take that photo-taking gameplay and tell a story rooted in their own folklore. In the process, they revived a niche that had only been touched once before and made a name for themselves. One that's far more than just the indie Fatal Frame. This game, there were plenty of hurdles from day one. Indonesia isn't exactly known as a mecca of game development. A tiny studio with roughly 20 people began working on what many called a love letter to Fatal Frame. But their influences also included Silent Hill, the Blair Witch Project. The biggest challenge was funding. Like Iga's crowdfunding triumph, Digital Happiness turned there, except they only asked for a modest $25,000. They barely cleared that goal instead of just blasting past it. The game arrived during an indie horror boom. Think Amnesia: The Dark Descent, Detention, Little Nightmares, Cry of Fear, and that wave has only gotten stronger, so as you can imagine, this game had a rough go the moment it was released. Mechanically, DreadOut echoes Fatal Frame, third-person, over-the-shoulder survival horror. But instead of a vintage SLR camera, you wield something everyone owns these days, a cell phone. You play as Linda, a high schooler who became trapped in a mostly abandoned town, especially its decrepit school. After a quick introduction to Linda, her best friend, classmates, and teacher, their field trip takes a supernatural detour. Time seems to work differently here. They're separated and Linda is the one trying to save everyone. Every ghost you face is pulled straight from Indonesian myth. I am going to butcher these names, I am so sorry. Kuntilanak, the spirit of a pregnant woman buried alive by a fearful village. Ngepet, a pig-shaped demon conjured through witchcraft to steal wealth. And there are some more modern terrors like the First Sister. Reviews were mixed, which I totally get even though I adore this game. Its atmosphere is pitch black and oppressive. The ghosts are legitimately unsettling both in lore and presentation. On the downside though, the game is clunky, buggy, and clearly held together with duct tape. Ambitious ideas were shelved because the framework simply could not cope with this. A standalone DLC dropped a couple of years later. Despite rumors, it wasn't just cut content, though some of that is here. Because the original engine was so fragile, Digital Happiness built Keepers of the Dark as its own title, yet continued the story. Linda, yanked into the mirror world, must step through 9 doors to banish the spirits within. Multiple endings exist, but only the first is canon, paving the way for more games. Around the same time, the series even jumped to film. A live-action DreadOut hit Indonesian theaters. Proof that, while it wasn't a global blockbuster, it generated real buzz at home. I haven't watched this one yet. It's definitely added to the list, and I can't wait to see see it myself. In 2020, we got a true sequel. PC first, consoles later, and if you were expecting the same gameplay, yo, buckle up, Buttercup. They made some changes. The cell phone returns, but it's no longer your sole defense. DreadOut 2 introduces 2 ghost classes. Incorporeal spirits photographed away and corporeal monsters you literally have to knife fight. It leans hard into action horror, not full Resident Evil 4 levels, but a major shift from the slow burn of that first game. Linda has grown too. She radiates confidence now, tackling horrors head-on like a seasoned ghost hunter. Many spirits return with higher fidelity models, enriching folklore rather than acting as disposable jump scares. Lessons were learned. The engine is sturdier, movement smoother, and the bugs are rarer, although never gone. Reviewers applauded the polish, but some argued that adding melee combat dulled the tension that made the original so haunting. Then came the curveball, an asymmetrical spin-off. You were either hyped, or like me, you flinched. Thanks for that Dead by Daylight community, you toxic piece of crap. Dreadhaunt supports 4v1, 2v1, and even a single-player campaign I honestly didn't know about until writing this. Story details are scarce. For a studio known for solo horror, the announcement left fans both curious and rather confused. The franchise's secret weapon is exposing gamers to folklore rarely seen in the medium. We get plenty of Japanese yokai and Chinese ghosts. Before DreadOut, I never even considered Southeast Asia as fertile nightmare fuel. These spirits aren't fabricated. The Pokong, for example, is said to rise if the burial shrouds aren't untied at a proper time. Unpaid debts or unfinished business could also bring this spirit back. Visually, it's a hopping corpse wrapped head to toe in white cloth, and can be rather unsettling compared to, say, a zombie. Palisek is even worse, a flying head trailing its organs, hunting down pregnant women. We're so accustomed to the Tengu, the Oni, and the Kitsune that fresh myths create instant unease. DreadOut cracks open an entirely new bestiary of dread. The series didn't reshape the industry, but it proved 2 things for people. The Fatal Frame formula still works in modern gaming. Koei, please take note, we really want that Fatal Frame 6, or at least I do. I love Maiden of Blackwater. More please? The same formula also can evolve. Yes, the knife reduced pure terror, but with the right narrative it still clicks. Because of that, we're actually getting yet another entry to this franchise. What sticks with me the most is how DreadOut stands apart in today's horror landscape. Monsters and zombies dominate the indie scene, and if you talk ghost games, you're usually talking about Demonologist or Phasmophobia. DreadOut approaches horror in that old school way. The series started as a homage, but it's grown into its own special creature, unafraid to experiment and learn. If you haven't dived in yet, there's no better time. A 3rd mainline game is on the horizon, and I'm actually pretty stoked for it. For horror gaming veterans, how did you feel about the addition of physical combat? Let me know down below, and until next time when we actually dive back into the Nightmare Arcade, I'm Adam the Horror Historian. Stay scared. Stay curious.